Hi everyone, this is your micro lecture for classical India. So in India, for thousands of years, spiritual practices have utilized drama and performance as vehicles for making spirit manifest and for expressing devotion. Chanting of Hindu Vedas or sacred hymn books is an embodied practice of the spiritual devotion that is only learned in an intimate master apprentice relationship that entails intense physical training and exercise as well as mastery of the Vedic chants. In this way, we can see how closely religious and spiritual practice is tied to classical Indian theater, much like classical Greek theater. Vedic chants are also thought to be the oldest surviving oral tradition, dating back all the way to the Iron Age. By the way of oral transmission and physical exercises that include the master's placing of his hands on the apprentice's head to move the head to a rhythm of the chanting, the apprentice learns the exact nuance and intonation of each syllable, thereby preserving the world's most stable oral transmission through generations. It is pretty intense, and we'll watch a few videos that you can see this the way that people are continuing to learn these different acting and religious embodiments. So through the Vedic chants, we get Sanskrit plays. They are from ancient Hindu culture. They're organized by mood or what they call rasa. Sanskrit drama suggested directions that later Asian theater would take. So we can see the roots of classical Indian theater in classical Japanese and Chinese theater. So, growing out of Sanskrit theater is the Natya Sastra. The Natya Sastra is similar to the Greek poetics. It outlines the principles of performance, staging, and dramatic form as practiced in India. Sanskrit drama, like we've talked about, is tied to the Hindu religion very deeply. Sanskrit was the official religious language, and the plays were performed in Sanskrit. This is similar to the liturgical plays in medieval Europe that were spoken in Latin, no matter what part of Europe they were in. And what's different is that women could participate as actors, whereas in Greek and medieval and Roman theater, women were not allowed to participate as actors. And in this video that you can watch through the Prezi link, you don't have to watch the whole thing, but it gives you a good idea of how Sanskrit drama is performed nowadays. It's basically like a church play, so you'll see lots of kids dressed up, and everybody thinks, oh, how cute. Kudiyattam grew out of Sanskrit theater. It is an Indian performance style that is a regional derivation of Sanskrit drama, developed in Kerala in the 10th century under the patronage of King Varman. And what made it different from Sanskrit is that it was no longer in Sanskrit as a holy language. It's now in the vernacular or the languages spoken locally where the plays are being performed. They were originally performed in the temples, but they grew to be too big and they expanded outside of the temples. The action of the performance isn't necessarily based on the sacred texts anymore as well, and women could still perform. And here is a great video, and you don't have to watch the whole video for this one either. What I do want you to notice, though, is the very precise hand movements or mudras that are basically a type of sign language to allow the viewers to know exactly what's being said and going on. You also notice the very distinct makeup and costumes as well. And let's move to Kathakali. As you can see, Kathakali is much later than the very beginning of Indian classical theater. It's around 1700 AD, and if we're going to place that in things that you may have learned before about Europe, that's about the same time as when Shakespeare and Queen Elizabeth were living. Kathakali definitely grew out of Kudiyattam. It's very closely related, and it dramatizes the devotion of the Hindu god Vishnu. Traditionally, Kathakali dancers are usually all male. However, this has changed a bit through time, and most of the acting is very physically demanding. The choreography is very much martial arts inspired, and it takes a very long time, many years, to become a master in this style of acting. And this is the most prominent form of classical Indian drama. And remember that it's important to keep the word classical in mind. So in the United States, most of the time we learn about classical theater, we think about like Shakespeare, and we also think about Greek theater as well. Those are not the same as what we usually will go see in modern theater as well. So keep that in mind. Modern Indian theater is very much more like what you would see on like in a Bollywood musical, for example. This video is really great. Please watch the whole thing. It goes into what it takes to train to be a Kathakali performer. It's really interesting. And that is your micro lecture on classical India.